things for signs to regulate their clocks.
Okay, I disagree. You're saying that the sun and moon were created. The word created and made are used interchangeably all through the Scripture. I've got a list of about, I don't know, 50 or 60 places where they're used interchangeably. It means the same thing. He created and made.
Scholars don't agree with that.
Well,
there is a distinction between a saw and bara. Bara means you're talking about something that's really brand new. When the text uses the verb saw, it doesn't necessarily have to be brand new, but it does have to be something that's designed or manufactured by the Creator. And I'm conceding that point. I believe that the Big Bang, the universe, the Earth, the solar system, our galaxy, were all very carefully fine-tuned and engineered by the Creator. Well, that's where I differ from Carl Sagan.
This brings up a great concern for me. After reading lots and lots of your material, I really feel like I'm talking to a Mormon priest, like you have a different God. It's not the same God.
Why do you say that?
Well, the Mormons will tell you they love God. Okay, who do you mean?
Yeah, but the fact is he's saying, Mormons are saying there's many gods. Okay, you can become a god, I can become a god. Bible's not saying that. I don't hear Hugh saying that. Are you saying that?
Well, no. The God that I worship not only made it in 6 literal 24-hour days, He's not deceitful. We don't have to wait for somebody to come along in the 20th century to explain it to us.
Let's talk about deceitfulness. Let's talk about that point. The fact is, that which is there, when the scientists find it, if it's not true, wouldn't that be deceitful?
Oh, yes.
Right.
And there's no conflict between the Bible and science. There's a conflict between the Bible and the Big Bang.
No, but I'm saying is the fact is, take the very thought of the fact of the light coming from the stars.
Sure.
Okay? We got to talk about this. We'll do it in another program because we've got to shut this one down. But the fact is that if the light is not what the scientists are saying that it did from all the measurements, then God had to create it in transit. Therefore, it's not really true.
No, that's a false assumption. You're setting up a straw man here. If the stars are billions of light years away, and they probably are, I wouldn't argue that. They probably go beyond what we've been able to see so far. You know, every time they look at a spot in space, they see more stars. You know, I don't know how far it goes. Probably goes forever. And that blows the human mind. You know, how can it go forever?
No, it doesn't go forever.
You know that it doesn't go forever?
Definitely.
You've been there, done that.
Yes, we've done that.
Extraterrestrial perception.
No, we can see far enough away in astronomy that we can look back to that epoch when stars didn't even exist.
Are you telling me, and everybody and God's listening, that scientists have now observed the farthest star there is?
Yes.
Man, okay.
Why, Hugh? Why are you saying that? What's the evidence?
We have telescopes powerful enough to probe that far back in the history of the universe. In fact, one of the astronomers that volunteers for us, William Keel, at the University of Alabama, that's his research field, photographing the universe before galaxies exist, before stars exist, and showing the history of creation from that moment forward.
All right, we're going to wrap this up here, and the facts we're going to come back, and there's a couple things when we come back, so please hang in there with us. Welcome. We're talking today with two guests, Dr. Hugh Ross, representing the old Earth point of view, the day-age creationist viewpoint, and Dr. Kent Hovind, representing the young Earth creationist viewpoint. Our topic is, are the universe and the Earth billions of years old or just 6,000 years old? Also, are Genesis 1 and 2 compatible with contemporary scientific evidence? And this is a dynamite program right here because we're going to talk about what aspect, what part did evolution play in the origin of life, if any. We're going to talk about when, how did God create Adam and Eve, and we're going to talk about light and a few other things, and we're doing it in the, just going down the list here of Genesis chapter 1, and I'm going to combine 2 days here, guys, because it's taken us a little longer than usual to get through these days. What happened on day 5 and day 6? Genesis 1:20 starts us with day 5. God said, let the water teem with living creatures. Let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living and moving thing with which the water teems, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. God saw that was good. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the water in the seas. Let the birds increase on the earth. There was evening, there was morning, the 5th day. Day 6. God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. It was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, over all the creatures that move along the ground. So it seems in these 2 days, you got to let the waters teem with living creatures, the birds fly across the earth, across the sky, above the earth, across the sky. He made the great creatures in the sea, then the livestock, creatures that move along the ground, wild animals, and finally man. All right? First of all, start me off. Does evolution have any place in any of this?
I would say no.
Why?
Well, just by scientific modeling, we can determine that there is no possibility for a species changing into a distinctly different species unless it exceeds 1 quadrillion individuals with a body size less than 1 centimeter and a generation time less than 3 months, which means it's going to work for viruses and bacteria, but it's going to have no capacity to explain the existence of new species of birds, mammals, or any of the creatures we see from the Cambrian explosion onward.
Some folks on PBS are doing specials on chaos theory, saying that that's the way it came about. What do you think?
Chaos theory, in my opinion, doesn't work. Yes, you can get departures from thermodynamic equilibrium if you've got a complicated enough system and pick a small enough volume element in that system, but there's an important corollary. The farther you depart a system from thermodynamic equilibrium, the faster it must snap back. As something as complex as a virus, the snapback time is less than 10 to the minus 120 seconds. So the fact that we're all older than that means that's not how we got here.
So you're saying all the plants, all the animals, and man, none of that evolved?
No evolution beyond, not the species level, the genus level, order, family, none of that. Unless the species happens to have more than a quadrillion individuals, which is only a few.
Kent, you've offered $250,000 to anybody that could prove that theory. Give me some illustrations of why you think they never will.
Well, all we've ever observed is dogs produce dogs. Nobody's ever seen a dog come from a non-dog. Now, they might want to believe that a dog and a banana have a common ancestor. Well, I don't care what they believe, but that's not science. And I certainly resent my tax dollars going to support that. You need to get a King James, brother, by the way, because you said wild animals. The Bible doesn't say that. They weren't wild. They were all tame, all friendly animals in the original creation. They were all part of, Adam got to pet them all when he went out for a walk. And the animals were all created on one literal day, the sixth day. And then Adam and Eve were both made on the sixth day. It wasn't a long period of time between Adam and Eve like Dr. Ross believes. It was the same day. And there's... the God that I worship is able to do it right, and he's able to do it in a few seconds.
Okay, but you're saying that God could. Is there any benefit of God doing it quicker than 6 24-hour days? In other words, if that shows his power, why not do it in 2 nanoseconds and really show off? Why do you say that he couldn't have done it longer?
Oh, he could have done it.
In other words, when a painter paints his picture,
I understand.
Okay, he can take his time in doing whatever he wants. He's the creator.
Right.
Is there anything better about saying he did it, over 10 billion years of age, 2 nanoseconds, or 6 24-hour days? Is there some spiritual quality that adheres to that?
Well, the only reason I can see for God taking 6 days, he could have done it in 0 time. He doesn't need any time at all, and could have made it perfect and right. And God doesn't need 17 billion years to get the stars just right to support life for this brief time period like Dr. Ross teaches in his books. My God did it right in 6 days, just like he said. We have a solar reason that we have a year. We go around the sun once a year. We have a lunar reason that we have a month. Used to be the month was about the same time as the lunar cycle. Nobody knows why we have a 7-day week. There's no, what's the historical reason? Why does every culture have a 7-day week? Napoleon tried to change it to a 10-day week, and it was disaster. We're just kind of built with our biological clock to work 6 days and rest 1. And it's normal days. God wasn't telling the Jews to work 6 million years and then rest, or work 6,000 years and then rest.
He told them to work the agricultural land 6 years, though.
Yeah, I think the 7-day week is established because of the creation. And the biological clock is just a normal, God just did it that way, just so we'd have. And I also think that God created, it says in Genesis 1 that God said, let us make man in our image. The very next verse says, so God created man. Here you've got an example where created and made means the same thing.
I don't think so. I think the making is referring to the fact that we have a physical component to us, which previously existed.
previously existed. Do you believe Adam was literally made from dust and God breathed into his nostrils?
Definitely.
And Eve was literally made from a rib?
No, it's side of Adam. It doesn't say rib in the text. It's a portion of Adam's side. So we don't really know what kind of biopsy God took out of Adam.
But you believe this literally took place?
Yes.
Well, we finally agree on something. There's one.
Okay.